Hello everyone and welcome to episode 17 of the Flight Simulator Career Mode. Now, in the last episode we made what I can only describe as a bit of a questionable move. We sold the 737, bought a brand new A321 which happened to be an Air New Zealand livery, and although it made us some good money, I just could not get on with it. The livery was wrong, it didn't feel right for the airline, and honestly it just wasn't the one. Now today I'm going to get rid of the disgusting A321, but first I'm going to be rebranding First Class Air. That's right, I think it's time for a new era for this airline, so let's get into the company menu and change that. So going into the company menu now, and you can see the revenue what I've been creating with the 320 here, and let's go and edit our name, First Class Air, and I am thinking Global Airlines. Yes, that's right, I'm going to be taking a bit of inspiration from James Asquith here and seeing if I can do a better job than having only one aircraft, which is what an A380, what they've got. So with that, I am going to sell the Airbus A321. So let's go back into my company here, go to the Airbus Manage Aircraft. It requires no maintenance, which is a good thing, so there's 87.8 million there to be made. So let's get that sold, and that gives us to a grand total of 161.2 million. Now an A330 is 200 million credits, which we don't have enough of. So I'm thinking if I go back to the 737 for 99 million, at least I've got my own livery on the aircraft and I can do what I please with. So let's purchase that, because we've got no other options really apart from the A320, but the 737 seems to be more what I need, and again, at least we're getting our own livery with that one. So let's purchase that. 99 million credits, there it is, all logoed up for Global Airlines, and of course we need some insurance on it. So I'm thinking we're at a stage now where we can afford the premium insurance on pretty much everything, so let's select that and get that locked in also. And yes, again, the aircraft will be based at Birmingham as always, so let's get all of that confirmed. Perfect, 737-800, so let's purchase that, and just like that, 99 million credits is gone. So we're now back at headquarters. Let's go and assign a pilot to the aircraft. Then it's passive income offline, and that gives us 62.7 million in the bank. Now I need to grind away to reach at least 200 million, so that is what I'm going to do.
1 week later.
Alright, it's a couple of days later and a few hours later in terms of flying as well, and I've racked up 128.3 million credits. Now I want to see if I can afford the Airbus A330 if I sell this 737. So let's go back to the company menu. Let's select the 737 and go to Manage Aircraft. Okay, no maintenance needed, so that is going to be sold for 76 million credits. So let's get that done, and that puts us at 204, so we've just scraped the line on that one. But with the A330 we've got more range, which means longer flights, which means more income, and with that we can use the money then to purchase more aircraft and expand Global Airlines into the short and medium haul flying for passive income offline. So a brand new A330-300 GE variant in Airbus house livery is what we're going for. Again, shame I can't get any liveries with this. Hopefully with the marketplace we might be able to put something on our aircrafts, but the house livery will have to do for now. but let's get the premium insurance on that. And you will be shocked to know that this is not going to be based out of Birmingham. It's going to be based out of Manchester. Yes, you heard me correctly. So I think it's about time we complete our first flight in this aircraft. So here we are back at headquarters in Manchester, and let's go over to the missions to see what jobs we have available. To the missions we go, zooming in into Manchester. Let's filter this to see what we've got, and there we are, New York, for 13.7 million credits. Yes, please. And let's get into that, because for a 7-hour flight, 13 million credits, if I do that non-stop, should equate to around about 20 odd million, I think. So absolutely, let's get it done. Okay guys, welcome to Manchester. Well, a very rainy Manchester, should I say. And here she is. Look at that for a sight, only quickly. But welcome to the flight deck of the Airbus A330. There's my co-pilot, and we've got passengers boarding. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a bit of a speed run through this part while I'm setting up the aircraft, setting up the autopilot, getting our clearances, NCDE's all done, and we've got all the relevant information out of the tablet on offer also. So you've just joined me in time for pushback, and we'll get that underway shortly as we set the beacon on, ready for our crew, and we'll get the request sent in now. Still don't know why I'm still operating under a Chanex call sign. This is what I do when I'm offline as well, and I just forget to change it. So there we go, air bridge is now being removed. Okay, so we're going to be giving clearance very shortly. And we are off blocks on our inaugural flight in the A330 as Global, well, I would say as Global Airlines, but the official first flight you've seen of Global Airlines. But we're just waiting for confirmation now to get the engine started, which we have. So we'll get the engines going now as we are pushing back. Let's clear some of these error messages that we've got on the MCDU. We'll get the flight plan put in. Okay, perfect. And this weather today is absolutely minging. You can barely see the tower through that rain and the cloud that we've got. Not great at all. Not great flying conditions that me and the passengers aren't going to see very much out the windows as we depart here out of Manchester. But pushback is complete, so let's set the parking brake. The flaps down to 2 today, and engine 1 is coming online. There we go. Let's clear that error message there, the master caution light. Perfect. And while we're waiting for that, we'll request a taxi. And there is the pushback crew departing now. As they depart and off to their next aircraft, there is our taxi clearance. So we've got to cross the one runway here to get across to the next. So let's acknowledge that, and we can get the taxi light on. So let's go and do that. And I think as well with this weather we're going to need, let's just nudge that camera up slightly and get the wipers on also. I think it's going to be needed. Okay, there we go. Just call the purse out. So parking brake is released and let's start the taxi. Turn the APU off and save on some fuel. Throttling up now, and those powerful GE engines sound absolutely glorious here from the flight deck. Flick the engine now back to normal, and we've got our crew doing the welcome and safety briefing. But with that said, let me get us to the runway and I will join you there. So at the holding point now, we've been given our clearance. I've turned on all the runway and turn off lights, and we've been given the good to go. So we're all ready to go to the Big Apple, guys. So let's line up on runway 22 left now, and we are going full toga here today. And there we go. Just listen to them sounds. Absolutely phenomenal. And you've got the rain going up the windscreen there as well also. Great visuals in conditions like these. So 120 knots, and we're going to be V1 at 160. So let's rotate out now. Lovely rotation there, and the gear is going up. Okay, autopilot is going on now. Nothing much for the passengers to see on departure today with this locale, and we are going to be handed over to departure very, very shortly. There we go. And we've got an excessive flap speed here, so let's try and retract them flaps and put the throttle into climb mode. There we go, bring that back down into the climb position. So we're looking for around 225 knots today, and as you can see, I'm struggling a little bit with the autopilot here. It doesn't seem to want to pick up the flight plan, so I'm going manual on the heading inputs for a few moments, and on top of that, ATC are advising me that the transponder isn't on as well. So departure not looking great so far. I'm sure we've already violated a handful of laws and procedures, and fines coming out of our arse for global airlines at the moment on this current flight, but let me just try and bring this back on track. So let me deal with the transponder now, and hopefully that should solve the issue. It's TARA, and we'll flip the TCAS to on. Nothing else more for me to do here, but it looks like we're above the worst of the weather here today. So, in the MCDU, the flight plan looks all okay, and a bit unsure on why it's not picking it up, because it's in there. But let me just quickly get this left-hand turn sorted here, and then we will see if it picks it back up on our climb up to 36,000. Okay, with that being done now, just sorting our vertical speed out just a touch, making sure that that is engaged, so at least we're climbing and not just accelerating forward stupidly. So we'll set that to 2,500 feet a minute, because I want to get into this cruise as quick as possible. So let me go to the heading, and I'm actually spamming X, the X button on my controller. It desperately trying to get it onto the managed heading slash track. So yeah, a bit puzzled. Let me quickly flick this to 36,000. So I'm thinking if I was to press and go into the flight sim tab here and go to the flight planner, if I go to the route and send everything to ATC and to the avionics, that might clear the issue. So with that done now, let me see if it will pick up the managed. And just like that, we've fixed it. And it looks like it's gone through. Whew. Well, at least that's sorted. But we are passing 10,000 now, so I'm going to deactivate the speed brake arm. Taxi lights and landing lights are coming off as well. There we go, those are off. So I am going to hold the cabin for a couple more moments until we complete this right hand turn coming up, as you can see on the main dashboard. But we're above the worst of the weather now. It's just a sea of cloud below us as we start heading towards the Irish Sea, out over Ireland, then finally over the Atlantic before hitting Newfoundland, Nova Scotia, and then descending into JFK. So join me back shortly in the descent and I'll see you there. Okay guys, welcome back, and you join me 7 hours later. You join me in the final part of our descent here into JFK. The crew are just securing up in the cabin as we arrive. It's very early morning now as the sun is beginning to rise, but it's a gloomy looking day here as we come over New Jersey here. And let's just acknowledge our entry instructions via the radio. So let's get that sorted. I will get away with the taxi ribbon shortly. I just needed some visual guidance for my descent in here today. So, as I was saying, very gloomy day. We've got the sun rising just off to our right hand side for our first day in the Big Apple in New York. And what a great sight it is to be as well. So we've just gone past New Jersey and we're just about to hit Rockaway Beach as well, which is just up ahead. Okay, so clear to land now by Kennedy Tower, so we'll just go off and acknowledge that also. So there we are as we are coming over Rockaway Beach now, and oh, there we go, here is the FS music again as we've been cleared to land. Now this was recorded a couple of weeks back and I've long since got rid of all the music here, you'll be happy to know. So from this moment onwards there will be no more FS music in and around flights. So we're about 1,500 now, just past that, and we are smooth. And the one difference that I can really tell here between this big Airbus A330 and comparing that to the 73, the A321, can't really compare it to the Heart Aerospace because that is not really an aircraft, let's be honest. But everything just feels a lot smoother. In regards to the inputs that we're getting, it just feels a lot cleaner. You're not being rocked around by weather or wind shear like the other aircrafts that we were having to constantly battle with, which makes everything just feel that little bit easier for me. So around 500 feet now, we are stable, and I'm going to be quiet here just so to see if we can get some butter here on this landing. and touchdown. And to be honest, with that being my first landing in this aircraft, I have to say I think it's a pretty good one, if I'm being honest. From our first touchdown, yeah, pretty spot on. So we're going to be vacating left here on our left hand side, and ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to welcome you to New York City. Welcome as we turn in here, and we'll be stopping at the hold short, just cleaning up the aircraft. Flaps are already coming in. And oh my god, look at that. Check out that McDonnell's Douglas part up on the ramp there. What a retro thing that is. Okay, let's request taxi to parking. All my turn-off lights, they can come off, the landing lights can come off as well. That can go to taxi, and the strobe lights can also come off, also no longer needed. Not sure why my seatbelt sign has been turned off. Weird one. But we'll get the APU bleed up and the master, and we will get that started. So going to gate Charlie 28 today here in Kennedy. I can't get over that McDonnell Douglas, to be honest. So let's release the parking brake and get the taxi underway. But I actually went on a Beam and DC-10 from Birmingham around 15 years ago. It was absolutely so retro. We took off and we managed to get all the way up to Lockerbie and back. But looking back on it now, it was basically a gamble with death, because the aircraft was an absolute bag of nails. And funny story, I distinctly remember standing on the aircraft stand with some of the other enthusiasts that were there taking photographs, and you'll never believe it, but a cigarette went whizzing past my head, and it actually came from the flight deck of all places. And yes, I still boarded and trusted the crew. Absolute madness. Looking back on it now at the age of almost 35, young teenager back then, but yeah. It's kind of funny to look back on it now. But anyway, so taxiing to stand now after this non-stop flight across the Atlantic from Manchester. We are in Kennedy, and our parking stand is going to be coming up very shortly. So what I'm going to do is skip through this little taxi here, and I'll join you on stand. Okay, parking stand is just coming up on our right hand side. Got some lovely vintage aircraft here today. I'm not sure if those are genuine, because I do have live traffic on. But we'll get ready with the taxi light and we'll turn that off now, just so we don't blind the ground crew as we are taxiing in. So slowing down now. And just got to remember how big this aircraft is in regards to its turning circle. So overshooting just slightly and turning in nice and slowly now. Got to remember we are in an Airbus now and not some tiny Cessna what we are kind of used to. So pulling in now, looks like the air bridge is already getting into position. Dispatch is eager to get these packs off. Okay, a bit more forward now, making sure the landing gear is in the parking zone, and there we are. Set the parking brake and turning off them engines, and there we are. Looks like our tail's hanging over just shortly, but this is where I have to give you a bit of a spoiler. I hit 59 minutes on my footage and I didn't realise that it stops recording after 59 minutes. So unfortunately I've just missed out on me collecting all the income and XP and everything. But I would like to advise that we did earn well over 20 million credits with our non-stop, and that's with the bad weather bonus also. However, you did enjoy this video, you are interested in seeing how far I can expand Global Airlines, then absolutely tune into episode 18 next Sunday, and we'll see what happens then. I won't say any more, but stay tuned and I'll see you next week.